So hey guys, so one of the first upgrades that I always do on my truck is to replace the shocks. Now the Rancho shocks that are on this truck are actually a Ford Motor Company product that is licensed by Rancho to produce these aftermarket shock assemblies. They are made by Rancho, but they are made and designed to Ford's specifications. They are not what I would consider anything near a high-end shock, and they don't perform really well. You know, a shock is made to do really one function, and that's to dampen your suspension travel, or to dampen how your suspension works. So your springs don't just have free rein to bounce the truck all over the place. The shocks that go on, a lot of people think have to be high pressure, they have to rebound quickly, and that's not always the case. Shocks are, again, just designed to be a dampener. They can either be a two-way dampener where they dampen on the rebound as well as the compression, or they can be one that's essentially designed to dampen only on compression. The shocks that are on this truck are designed to be two-way dampeners. They are twin tube design, but they are really just designed to be a pretty nice premium factory version of a shock absorber you can get on the truck. That being said, that's not really saying a lot. So these shocks are going to come off the truck. I still have the Bilstein shocks that I put on my 2016 F450. However, they don't fit this truck. The front shocks would, but the rear shocks wouldn't because the eyelet is too small compared to the new mounting bolt on this specific truck. So these shocks, when they come off, I decided to go a different route with my new shocks. I decided to stick with the Rancho brand and go with their premium lineup of adjustable shocks. So these are the Rancho RS9000 series. You have the ability to adjust the dampening effect these shocks have by turning this knob up top. And you have 9 different settings to choose from when you're making those adjustments. So you can go from a really soft plush shock to a very firm shock by simply turning the knobs. These are my front shocks, these are my rear shocks. They all have that 9-way adjustable setting. They recommend to start by putting them right in the center setting, which is 5. However, these are the shocks that are going to be going on. One thing that they did, and you can probably tell there's some spray paint or some clear coat here, they recommend that you hit them with a good couple coats of clear coat to just help protect the housing a little bit. They already have a nice finish when they come. As most people know, some of the finish on shocks tend to wear off pretty quickly. So I just got this VHT high temperature engine enamel and I hit it with 3 coats, put the stickers on, then hit it with a 4th coat over a 2-day period. So they've had time to really dry and get this coat to protect it. I just sprayed the whole thing down. It really doesn't matter where you get the spray because it's not going to get into the internal workings of it anyways because they're sealed. But these are the shocks that are going to be going on my truck, and I look forward to seeing how they perform. This is the first time I've gone to a Rancho upgrade when it comes to shocks. So step number 1 in removing the front shock is to take this bolt out and to take this top bolt out. One of the differences between the 2017 Super Duty and previous generations is they use this hose right here, which is actually a axle vent line, and they attach it to a plastic plug that's on the top of your strut mount. So essentially what you need to do is cut this little zip tie off here that actually secures it to that, and unscrew this little plastic piece at the top of the threading. When you put the new shock on, you can simply reattach this to the top, feed a new zip tie through it, and you're good to go. The nut at the top of this shock is a 21mm nut, and if you just try to spin this, this whole shaft is going to spin at the same time, so you have to either put a clamp or some type of a wrench on this 21mm. I guess they put this here so you're able to secure it with one wrench while you loosen it with another wrench. Once you've gotten it loose, you can just use a 21mm wrench and it should come off. It's just going to take a little while. If you have a pass-through socket, this is really where it would come in convenient. I have one up to 20mm, but I don't have a 21mm, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Well, I didn't think I could fit this in here, but I can. Well, that made things a little bit easier. Now this bottom bolt right here is an 18mm, and it has a piece on the back here. It's kind of a plate, a bolt plate, that it screws into, and you don't have to put anything on the back. That clamps itself up against the bracket and just allows you to unscrew this. Making it very, very easy and quick. Now here is the factory Rancho next to the aftermarket RS9000. I've already put essentially 4 coats of clear on here, 3 before the sticker, then I put the sticker on, put a 4th, cover the whole thing really well. It's supposed to add just a little bit more protection so it doesn't start rusting, kind of like you start to see on these factory ones just after a real short period of time. It comes with all new bushings and components. This is just going to slide in the factory location up through the same mounting hole, put the top 2 pieces on, and secure it. One thing to remember, which I didn't, and I had to simply remove the shock assembly, which wasn't very difficult, is to put the boot over the end here. You have 2 lengths. You have one for the rear shocks, which is longer, and then you have one for the front shock, which is shorter. It simply slides over. They give you some zip ties to secure it to this piece here, and then this piece just goes underneath the grommet here, so it kind of sandwiches between the piston itself. Once you have the shock assembly in place, you need to reattach this little bolt plate on the back of this bolt here, as well as tighten down the 3/4 inch nut that comes on the top of the shock. You can use another wrench right here to prevent the shaft from spinning when you're tightening this top nut. So once you're done with this side, wash, rinse, and repeat on the other side. The back shock on the driver's side, actually on both sides, the nut that holds it on is a 21mm on the bottom and an 18mm up here on the top. Once you remove this one, just use an adjustable wrench on the back here. Loosen that, pull this out, loosen the top one, pull it out, and this thing should just shimmy off, and that's all it really takes to get the back one off. So putting the new one in was just about as easy as taking the factory one out. I just got to cut the zip tie that comes with it to secure the boot. It actually slides over the top bracket or mounting post easier than the factory one came off, so that was really easy. As far as the bottom goes here, if you are wondering if you can use the shocks off of your 2011 through 16 Super Duty, the answer is no, because this is a larger bolt diameter and it won't fit through the hole on the shocks on the previous model Super Duty. So you do have to get new shocks for the 2017 Super Duty. On to the passenger side. Hey guys, it's the next day and I am going to hit the bottom mounts of these shocks with a little bit more clear coat and I'll be all wrapped up. So here's the first one. And then finally the last one. The setup looks really good. And the reason why I hit it with that little bit of spray clear coat right now was because when you install them, this bottom part right here touches the ground a few times, or it touches this little bracket, and I just wanted to add some protection to areas that it might have scraped off. All in all, the entire install took about an hour, mainly because the front top nut was a little bit difficult to get off and take some time. But it's all done.